point that they were making, right? They came from a post-dictatorship, post-genocide scenario, emerged with a much better public infrastructure system than the Philippines, because they swept away all the cronies, disempowered them, unlike the system that we have in the Philippines right now, where these people are empowered by default because they're the only alternative. That's my second speaker argument. I'm going to talk to you about the intersection of economics and politics and discuss to you why the current regime of patriarchal patronage politics is actually what leads to the Philippines' problematic stuff happening right now. So let's go to the arguments that we heard from the previous speaker. We found two incompatible arguments. The first thing he said was that Filipinos know the Philippines better. Essentially, that the issues that the current Filipinos face are best addressed by Filipino people. Then he tells us, we're not going to employ Filipino talents, we're going to employ Germans or something, right? Wait a minute. If the skills are outside, but the local knowledge is also important to the operations of these firms, I think it's going to be a hybrid of both. You'll be employing Filipino experts who are experts probably in topography, geology of those places, experts in infrastructure, those who can get the workers, right? And maybe some Germans who run the more strategic part of that program. What basically we are saying is that actually the Germans might actually do us some good if they're actually going to run our services better, Mr. Speaker. We think that this entire mindset that we should always be entrepreneurs is weird when we don't have the capability to be entrepreneurs, when we don't have the resources to be entrepreneurs. Then he says that, what about the poor communities? Well, how are they going to be served? I think we reasonably addressed this, right? We said the problem with the current incentive systems of the people who run local corporations is that they have a very diversified portfolio. They don't only invest in public services. They don't specialize in public services. That's why when they hedge on public services, they tend to do it only for the safer parts of public services. The rich, the middle class, Mr. Speaker. But all around the world, you have small firms like Singapore, for example, in Eastern India, who would want to invest with the ADB loans in projects that are smaller scale for tribes, for example. These options are not available to us. We also told you a bit about economies of scale. We said the reason why you have a massive capital infusion necessary, why that helps the poor, is if I build, like, for example, one waterway system for 500 pesos in Ayala, Alabang, I can charge people 1,000 pesos for the water. But if I have 1,000 people in Tondo who can only afford 1 peso, then I'll charge them 1 peso and get the money from the quantity of the poor people there. That's where the profit margin is coming from when you serve the poor. My question to them is, what's the incentive system of independent power producers or screwing over Tacloban? What is the incentive system of the Ayalas? What's the incentive system of current entrepreneurs to help these other people as well? We've already provided you some logic and economic analysis why that happens. But let me tell you, furthermore, in my second speaker argument, is that actually it's very hard to reform these local entrepreneurs, very hard to reform these local MNCs, because in fact they have a stranglehold on the Philippine government. You look at who's in power. I'll give you a basic example, right? What happened when we had the former MDA chair, Bayani Fernando? We all know he works in cement, right? What happened to EDSA? It so happened to be littered with a lot of cement blocks that were made by the family of Binay in Batangas, Mr. Speaker. What happens when you have all these superpowers who are already able to corner the Philippine market, whose market influence is so strong on the Philippine economy that they're able to strangle it, Mr. Speaker? We think that ultimately it leads to the lack of incentive to innovate. It leads to the lack of these people for any incentive to actually serve the people as they claim they would. What happens if we have the infusion of foreign capital?